Oh yeah, we're doing it again. What is up, Nerdvengers, and welcome back to another stream here on the Den of Nerds Live. We're going to be talking about the Hawkeye show, and I am not alone as I am joined with the one, the only, Miss Darren Wood. Miss Darren Wood, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing great. Shout out to technical difficulties for getting Josh back on the stream again. He was not supposed to be here, but lo and behold, Daddy's back.
I knew.
Daddy's
I was like, the technicals. I mean, that's kind of the thing. I'm gonna be lurking for all the streams this week while everybody's streaming because I'm just like, just in case, like jump in or whatever. But no, we'll get it figured out. You know, technicals are definitely a thing. It's a part of the game. But let's get into some of this juicy Hawkeye stuff, and just at a base level before we get too far into this, where is your personal hype level with Hawkeye? Because we have the poll up on the thing right now, and it's a little bit mixed. You know, I wouldn't say it's negative, but medium is currently winning. It keeps switching around. How about that?
Yeah, full disclosure, I was a medium vote because I'm not super hyped, but I'm also hyped based on the factors that we have at play. Like, I think Haley Steinfeld and Jeremy Renner are both like superstar show stealers and can bring a lot to something that maybe isn't a lot to begin with. And I really do think that is a major factor when we're going into this. So yeah, medium hype because I don't know, I really don't know what to expect with Hawkeye. What'd you
I'm
think,
medium.
Tell the people.
I'm medium well. I'm medium high because, like, the thing is,
That was not an option on the poll.
Well, that's my own personal thing. I can add it if I want. So, no, but because here's my thing. I actually loved this David Aja run that he did, this Matt Fraction Hawkeye run, and I remember it well. Like, it was such a great run in comics. It felt like wholesome, but harkened back to just great cartooning and really cool, interesting 9-panel grids and just good art. You know what I mean? And also like really good character stuff. It did some awesome stuff with Clint. So I'm personally excited for it. There's a lot of fun stuff in this series, like the Tracksuit Mafia, Pizza Dog, Hurricane Katrina. There's like, I wonder if they'll do anything like that. Probably not. But there's a lot of interesting stuff that happens to Clint in there. So my personal level is medium high. I tell you this, I'm more hyped for this show than I was before I found out all the crazy stuff about Loki. Like, when I just thought Loki was going to be another show, I was more hyped for Hawkeye. So take that for what you will.
Would you attribute that more to your experience with the comics or more to your experience with like Jeremy Renner as a long-standing character in the MCU?
A little bit of both, but I also underestimated Loki. Like, just plainly, my initial like thoughts and take on Loki were like, it's not going to be that big of a deal. It's not going to be consequential, and I was just so wrong about that. You know what I mean? So we'll get into that in a second. So I want to talk about this article, guys. This is from Lizzie Hill. She used to write at murphysmultiverse.com. She's very reliable. She's in the know. And a couple of different things that she's talking about here. There was a thread last night on Twitter where Kevin Feige was doing a watch party of Black Widow and answering questions. I know, doing the Twitter thing again. But at least this time, he's actually like answering questions while you're supposed to watch the movie or whatever. But he was talking about whether or not she had been blipped, right? There was a question that came out about that, and he kind of said, you'll find out. And more or less, she goes on to basically say something that we all kind of anticipated, I think, after watching Black Widow in that post-credit scene, that Yelena will be in the Hawkeye show. And Lizzie says more than just one episode in a cameo. She'll be in multiple episodes of Hawkeye. So I guess let's start there. What do you think about that?
A significant role. Like, it was like, this will not be a cameo. She will be across multiple, not all the episodes. To clarify, she did say she will not be in every episode like she's not a main character, but she will have a significant role. And I am like, that made me more hype. That took the hype level up to a medium high. Yeah, I'm stealing your steez. I'm now at a medium high.
Yeah, nice.
Because I feel like Florence Pugh was kind of the best part of Black Widow. Like, I really think she is a superstar. Like, I think that chick is like going places. Like, she is a true scene stealer. I mean, even that Little Women movie that she was in, like, she played the youngest sister. I can't remember, Amy. And, Amy is a decidedly historically annoying character. And that had a lot to do with the director's writing as well. But Florence Pugh's performance in that really added this dynamic element to it. And so did Black Widow. And there's no surprise that the fans were like, Yelena, because she was a totally bright spot in that. So if she's coming back for Hawkeye, like I would watch it literally just for her.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Yeah, to be honest, yeah. She was very incredible in that movie. And some people even almost took issue with it because it sort of overshadows Scarlet in like her goodbye or whatever. Yeah, it is kind of weird. But so that's number one. And I would just say for me personally, yeah, it's awesome to see. You love that connective tissue for sure. And then her being the talent that she is, working across from two other knockouts in Haley and Jeremy. I mean, they're incredible. You and I were talking a little bit before we went live. Jeremy Renner is super underrated, and I loved your thought on him in Age of Ultron, and you were saying that aspect of the film probably wouldn't have worked with an actor other than Jeremy, who brings in that sort of wholesome side and can sell you on it with that family and that kind of dynamic. So pretty freaking cool,
Yeah, Age of Ultron, it's not for everybody because it was kind of messy. I think we all know that Joss Whedon was like a little bit in over his head in that regard. Yeah. But that whole Clint scene, like the whole Hawkeye, middle part, it's like a 16-minute scene, right? Like they're there for like a long time. Yeah. And that was a bold move. And he fought really, really hard to keep that movie. And I think Jeremy Renner deserves a lot of the props for that, because sticking something like that in the middle of an action movie is absolutely insane if you think about it kind of like objectively. But Jeremy Renner really does bring this kind of magnetic quality where you genuinely are interested in like what's going on with him. I mean, even him in Arrival, like he's just like, he has a really strong, charismatic scene presence that isn't just like him, like, being the star of the show, but that actually makes you kind of like lean in and like listen to him and wonder what's going on with him. And I think Haley Stanfield is really, really similar in that regard. Like Bumblebee was so good because of her. Like that movie was so adorable.
Yeah.
And so those two together, I was like, oh, hell yeah. Like, this is going to be good with these two. And then Florence Pugh, I was like, they're out of town. And now I'm raising it to high. Now that we're talking about it more and more. Am I getting hyped?
Everybody, are you getting hyped in the chat? Chat hypey hype chat? Because I'm there. I'm feeling it. I'm feeling the vibes. Another thing that was talked about in the article that's pretty fun is clarifying that it's going to be 6 episodes, not 8. I don't really know where that 8 rumor came from, but basically getting the 6 episodes and it being more or less confirmed for November. That's pretty freaking cool. Now, I know that it had been always since, before Pandy and maybe in December 10th, it had been sort of announced that these shows would be coming out this year. I sort of had my doubts about Hawkeye, and I still have doubts about Ms. Marvel. Apparently, it's coming as well. But Hawkeye at the end of the year, in the middle of all this other crazy MCU stuff that's happening in the movies. I mean, what's your take on that? The fact that, we're going to be getting it another one, like DJ Khaled style this year.
Wow, sweet reference. But I do think that coming into November 21, I was honestly really excited to see that, because I was just like, wow, we are really, leaning into the pacing here. Like they really are going to be knocking these out like one right after the other. And honestly, I'm here for it. And I think it is a little bit of a response to the change in culture. Like as you saw, as we all saw with the Black Widow numbers, like streaming online for premieres is like here to stay. Yeah. And that does, I think, kind of shorten the padding in between releases of content. You know what I mean? Like if they're just coming out on streaming platforms, they're going to get digested and kind of passed on a lot quicker than they would if they were having this like big theatrical release. So I do think it's smart to keep like churning this stuff out at a pretty high rate. And I really do. I think people like Hawkeye. Like I think they'll show. Like I think there will be good interest in this show. And people really like Haley Stanfield. She's like America's sweetheart.
Yeah. And then there's stuff that, I mean, we can get into more of this later, but there's a character called Echo. Are you familiar with Echo? Yeah, and like she's apparently. Well, she's a really cool character. She actually is the one that passes down the mantle of Ronin to Clint, and she I believe she's disabled. She can't hear, I believe, is the way that works. I think that's what it is. And this happens to Clint in the comics as well. Kind of slight spoiler, I guess, is like in the Hawkeye run, he loses his hearing.
He goes blind?
Is it blind or hearing? I thought it was he loses his hearing, or perhaps it's that he's blind and then the panels Oh, I think it is that he's blind, and maybe Echo is
Yeah.
blind as well. And your boy, his brain is mashed potatoes. Maybe that's what's going on. Let me know in chat. I'm
Cool.
sure you'll be very, very kind about it. But yeah, Echo's a really cool character, and
Yeah.
they're gonna apparently spin her out into her own series as well. So a lot of fun stuff kind of happening with this show, setting stuff up, and perhaps. Do you think that Haley's and she's gonna be our Hawkeye kind of moving forward, either in Young Avengers or something like that?
Dude, I'm actually like, this is kind of the thing that stands out to me the most because I am very curious how they're going to handle this whole like passing of the mantle thing for the next phase
Mm,
of Marvel.
sure.
Because we talked about this a million times. I do feel like movie audiences have a harder time letting go of characters, especially like OG characters that have been there for a really long time. But I mean, the whole thing with Kate Bishop is like she is literally a product of the mantle being passed. So it's just like if they're able to do this well, and I really think they will, just because I think Haley Stanfield and Jerry Renner are so great, and I think they'll put, as we saw with Florence Pugh Wright in Black Widow, if it's written well enough, if like the performance is well enough, we can kind of get on board with anything, like truly and honestly. And so I do think they're setting this up to pass the mantle, but at the same time, even as Hawkeye or Clint passes the mantle to Kate, he still hangs around. Like he's still there.
Yeah,
Like
that's
he's
true.
being a weirdo.
And I would totally, I know, and I would actually, if I was Feige, I would keep sort of Jeremy on deck, right? Like, there's no
Yeah,
reason
for
not
sure.
to, and especially for things down the road, you never really know. But yeah, it's fun to be setting up all these different characters. I mean, I'm frankly shocked that they're doing. I don't know. For some reason, I just didn't think it was going to happen this year. Now, November's a long way away, and by then you might be like, oh, I can't. I'm itching for a Disney Plus Marvel show, but they just banged out 3 crazy projects. And look, I'm on record, of course, not Loki's definitely the best one for me. I'm pretty far
Mm.
ahead of the rest. I would say WandaVision second, and then Falcon and Winter Soldier is a low third. It's crazy to me that they're still, despite all of the problems that they've had behind the scenes, the stuff that they don't want to talk about with production, they're still going to crack 2 more shows at least this year for Marvel. And next year, it's just going even crazier. Like they have,
Yeah.
from what we understand, they have even more shows that are unannounced, things they're working on, 8 new LLCs, I'm hearing, maybe even more. Like it's
Jeez.
insanity. Like, yeah. So that's
So what's your hang up on it? I'm like, what gives you pause about all of this coming out so quickly?
I guess I just thought that they would need more time because Hawkeye, I thought specifically was a show that didn't really film at all during the pandy. And I know
Hmm.
that like I would say maybe it's loosened up recently, but up until recently, production's been a nightmare. Like for every
Hmm.
studio. Like if you think about it, everything's getting pushed back, right? Like the Batman got pushed back. Uh Friggin' Tom Cruise had to go buy robots to try to make sure that his movie comes out on time, and we're not even sure if that's going to work. Like it just seems like it's really freaking hard, probably just because of liability and insurance and new policies. Like Star Wars Theory was saying that in order to have people on set for him in the States right now, it would cost $200 per person per day for testing and for like multiple tests, and like as things were going in and out, I was like, that's crazy. So it's probably, I mean, that's kind of just where I was at with it. I was like, there's no way they're
So
gonna.
you're worried that these issues with production will be reflected in the shows that they're rushing to get out.
Yeah, I just thought that like, okay, so if they were gonna be able to get started with all the stuff, like from to me it was a miracle they were even able to get Falcon and Winter Soldier, WandaVision out there. And then Loki, I was like, wow, that's a real miracle because they like did the whole thing throughout the pandy, right? And then I
Yeah.
had just assumed that they would sort of just pause everything, and then when things were like fully back, they'd go into production, meaning we'd really catch up with everything starting next year. But no, it appears that that's not the case, and that they're going to rock and
Yeah.
roll because they've got What If, Hawkeye, and Miss Marvel apparently all supposed to drop before the end of the year. It's insane. Like nobody else is doing
Yeah.
anything close to this. Like Star Wars will have one more show. 2 more shows, Visions, and then
Yeah.
the other thing, right? Which is it's wild for Star Wars. You know what I mean? Marvel's about to have 3 more properties and 3 more movies. Like this is insane. Like it's
I,
crazy.
I mean, if you have the money though, like I mean, I definitely heard I have a friend who works at Netflix doing just like working on the set. And he's like, people were just getting COVID nonstop. When we
Yeah.
were filming all these shows. Like it was just like a nonstop COVID parade.
Wow.
And so like, but if they have the money to eat it and like eat those liability costs, then like, and Marvel ain't nothing, they ain't got money. They do got money. So like if they can
bucks,
churn this shit out, then it's just like, and it means like they even, it's smart business wise, because it's like if they're the only ones with stuff coming out, then they're really going to eat up that market.
True.
And just keep.
I mean, they're currently dominating, by almost any factor that you can imagine. I'm really interested on this Black Widow sort of box office situation. Like, I want to see how that fully shakes out. But by and large, they've done incredible with the sort of constraints that they've had. One more big thing I want to talk about in the article, and then I want to throw a curveball at you, and then we'll get into Q&A.
Oh, yeah.
And so they say in this article that Val, Julie Louis-Dreyfus, right? She has apparently not filmed a single scene for the Hawkeye show as of yet. That's not to say they won't do something crazy and plug her in somewhere, but she's sort of set up in, Falcon and the Winter Soldier. She's sort of set up at the end of the Black Widow movie, but she may not be in the Hawkeye show. I don't know. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah.
What do you think could be going on there?
I thought that was interesting too. That they said like 100% she has not filmed a single scene, but they also said that reshoots were going to be starting in a couple months, and based on kind of how they've been working her into everything, I could see them adding some reshoots in just in case, because even with the way Kevin Feige has been releasing even when you talked about like the mutants in one of your Nerdy News rundown like a couple weeks ago, it's like I feel like they keep filming this stuff and just kind of like keeping it on deck, like just in case they do use it. But at the same time, I don't know, like, yes, the end credits scene, I like that the way it set up that connective tissue for the MCU, but I don't want to see her recruiting more people as an end credit scene anymore. Like if I do see an end credit scene, like I kind of want to see more about the character as opposed to her just being like, join me. Cause at this point we're like, we got it.
Yeah. And also like, who are you? Like I still don't really know. Yeah. I guess my thoughts on it are, and I'm hearing like different things, right? Because I've heard from some people that they're going to downplay the Sharon Carter aspect because Feige's aware that it didn't really pop in Falcon and Winter Soldier. Yeah. Maybe something similar is happening with Julia Louis-Dreyfus. I mean, if you really think about it, Falcon and Winter Soldier and Black Widow and those scenes with Val were likely shot a long time ago. You know what I mean? And it's just maybe they're at a different place. They don't necessarily even want to really drive that home. I think Feige will still follow through with Val as a character that's, recruiting people, but she could be servicing someone else or, some other master or something. I'm not 100% sure. But for me, I don't really need her in Hawkeye. You know what I mean? Like, I'm definitely not itching. Like, I don't know. I guess they just haven't really done enough with that for me to be like, it's like it damn sure isn't Sam Jackson popping up at the end of
it's
credit,
not Nick Fury.
I mean?
That was on the tip of my tongue. That was what I was just about to say, is like, it's different. And the Avengers post-credit scenes when we're seeing Nick motherfucking Fury, showing up, and then we're like, oh, here we go, like, because even like anyone who doesn't know a lot about like the MCU can, look, he's been there the entire time, but it's just like, they really are creating their own version of Val for the MCU. So that same kind of style of Nick Fury recruiting the Avengers kind of doesn't work for her, because you're like
the same. Because you're like, well, you're not Norman Osborn. You're not recruiting the Dark Avengers. Like, you're not, you know what I mean? Yeah. And you're not William Hurt either, right? So it's like the Thunderbolts, right? If you're going that way.
Yeah.
I'm interested. You know what I mean? I'm really interested to see what they do with her. I thought she's fun, but it's just like, it just feels odd. Like, it doesn't have that it doesn't have that comic book thing backing it up.
For sure.
Everybody's kind of like, what the fuck? So I don't know. It's kind of interesting. Let me throw this curveball at you. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Make your no.
Well, that's what I meant in the way of like, if she's going to show up again, I just hope it's not more like recruiting scenes. Like, and if they do, like, she can show up in a way like they know each other, but I really hope they kind of get away from this like recruiting kind of style of making her show up, because at this point it's like we've seen her recruit two people now. We still don't know who she is.
Dude, I just
Yeah,
had a
what's
thought,
up?
and it would be kind of sick.
What?
Like you're in like Far From Home or whatever, and you are like you're pulling up into either Norman Osborn's place or like the new Kingpin's place or some crazy thing, and she just walks out as like an associate of this person, like with no explanation, and then you're just like, oh shit, she works for Homie. That would be cool. That'd be
Love
like,
to see it.
okay,
See,
yeah,
love to see. That's exactly what I mean. Like she can keep showing up, just like make it like change it up. I don't want to see her recruiting anymore. Like
yeah.
have her show up in different ways where you're like, she's connected to this person. Like hell yeah. But like no more just like Val because we don't know enough yet.
Yeah. No, yeah, that's fair. Well,
All
now
right,
allow
curveball.
me, yes, curveball at you. So for me, and I think we both agree that Loki is the
It's me.
benchmark of the MCU shows thus far. Yeah, it's the
Mhm.
best one. It's the one that
Yeah.
we're hoping all the other ones kind of match up to. So I guess my
Mm.
question is it possible that Hawkeye surprises everybody? I think in a similar way to that Loki did. I mean, I know there was a lot of Loki hype, but frankly, this shocked a lot of people into how cool and like important it ended up being for the MCU. Do you think there's a chance that Hawkeye could do the same thing? Could it perhaps be the best MCU show of this year? What do you think?
It's MCU show of this year. Hmm. I'm gonna say no, only because from what I've seen, just based on the public response, the people don't really love all the time we spend just doing character stuff.
Yeah, that's fair.
And
Totally
it's
fair.
like
Yeah.
I personally love it. It might be my favorite show because I'm just like a simp for a good character art and then like an emotional moment.
Yeah.
But like when we don't get that action and that momentum that we're used to in the MCU, I do think people kind of tend to lose interest.
Mm,
And so if we maintain that action in Hawkeye, then 100%. But just based on the idea of like him passing the mantle to Kate Bishop and just like all that I've seen done with Hawkeye as of yet, like Hawkeye is a very emotional character driven character. Like
yeah.
there's not a lot of like, watch him do his thing. It's like he's always the one that comes in and kind of like brings it back and like centers you again, and then you're like, oh shit, and like kind of like propels the movie and it's like emotional arc. So if the show follows that same thread, I don't know if it'll be revered as much because like Loki was just an awesome experience. Like it was fun. Like it was a lot of fun visually, action, story, like conceptually. Like it was a great time where I think Hawkeye is a more grounded character, more,
Yeah.
Falcon and the Winter Soldier. So I
Mhm.
think it might go in that direction. So I don't
Fair.
think so.
Fair. Now allow me
Yeah.
to offer up a possible way that it could, though. Okay.
Ooh, counter me.
Yes, yes. So check this out. So I think it's possible that you're right. It's going to be more grounded to Clint. It's going to kind of be more about his life, right? But
Mhm.
I think that through Clint, we will become really attached to not just like the Avengers, but to Shield and some other crazy things that are going on because Clint Barton is super connected to just not like where we're at, but where we've been, right? He's the Avengers 1
Mm.
dude that gets, taken by Loki and all that sort of stuff. Also been Ronin and had that really, really dark arc during the whole crazy time of Endgame. And there are rumors that like, we'll get some Ronin stuff as well in this show. And I think that it's possible that kind of in a surprising capacity, you might see Hawkeye do more than just be a really, really fun MCU show, but set up all sorts of cool stuff. You know what I mean? And have a lot more of
Mm.
an implication on things coming than maybe we're anticipating right now. And I think when you couple that with just the incredible kind of crew, and also I do think the action's going to be way better than Loki. I love Loki. I think as I said, I think it's the best show. It's the best one. But the action is not it. It's not like it's
Mm.
except that maybe in the last fight between Loki and Sylvie, I thought the choreography was kind of whack. It lives and
That's
breathes
fair.
off its own sort of imagination. Its ambition is really what blows people away. But I think Hawkeye, I'm just saying it. Like, I think it's going to surprise people. I'm very, very excited for it. I think we could be all shocked and at the end of the year say, dang, I can't believe Hawkeye was the best MCU show. And it was even better than Loki. I can't believe it.
You know what, Josh? You son of a bitch. You're kind of changing my mind. I can definitely see that because I will say I feel like they've started a lot of threads for Hawkeye, but they kind of abandoned them. You know
Yeah.
what I
You mean
mean?
like
They
in the
always
movies and all that?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Like they always have these cool ideas for him, and then they kind of just like at the end of the day, like he kind of ends up on the cutting room floor because they have like bigger fish to fry. But given his own thing, like his own show, like they could finally really, really thrive. And yeah, the action could be really, really cool. I would be, you know what? I was really, really impressed, honestly, with the action in Black Widow. Like I thought,
It's good.
and Kevin
It's
Feige
really
actually
good.
shouted that out in that like Twitter thread that like given the right creativity and the right attention to it, you could get some really, really interesting fight choreography with the bow and arrow shit. Like that could be hella fun. Like
Right.
super, super fun. Cause you're right. Like the Loki action like was not it was not it. The Black Widow action was like 10 times better in my opinion.
Yeah.
Um but huh.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you're right.
No
I mean,
bitch. You're
the,
right.
the
I
action
can see it.
stuff, I mean, it would be I think it's going to have more like you know what it might be is it could be kind of a blend of almost all the shows we've seen thus far. Almost like WandaVision and Falcon and the Winter Soldier do like a fusion dance thing and kind of get put together
Hmm.
because I think you're going to be dealing with a lot of Clint's trauma as well. You know what I mean? I do think that it's going to be that and a lot of that will likely still stem from that 5 years. Like I'm thinking he was really messed up. You know what I mean? Like, and who wouldn't be
Yeah.
like during the blip? But people have made the
Right.
point that like you get the scenes of Spectrum, right, in WandaVision where she's
Yeah.
like realizing it and understanding about the blip and if we get something like
Mm.
that with him and this character, very, very fun, but also potentially really impactful again because of all the relationships he's had and continues to have. You know what I mean? Because it's
Yeah,
post
for
blip,
sure.
right? Like this is post blip. In some ways, one of our first looks at post blip stuff. Because WandaVision's like super isolated. Falcon and the Winter Soldier, I don't know what
Right.
the hell was happening. You know what I mean? Like I really don't.
Yeah.
So Loki's isolated too to outside of time. It's gonna be really interesting to see what's going on in the MCU. There's also, of course, some hints that perhaps some things that are going on in Spider-Man could also be happening within the purview of Hawkeye, as they both will be releasing around the same time at the end of the year. So, I mean, I'm just without getting too, let's get into the Kang again and let's get hyped for Mephisto again and
Kang
doing all of
Whalation.
that Kang Wangulation. Man, what if we saw some new cool Marvel stuff in there? I just think that it's full of opportunity, and I'm sticking my flag in the ground. I think Hawkeye's
Yeah.
gonna surprise people, and it's gonna be freaking dope MCU content. That's what I think.
You know what? I honestly, I'm with you. Like, I'm really, really with you because I do think Clint in the comics is a lot more complicated. You know, like he's kind of a dicey character sometimes. Like sometimes you can really kind of get like a little turned off by like the decisions he made because he can be really cutthroat, and that's something that like hasn't really been explored
Yeah,
in the
we haven't
MCU
got
movies.
the
Like not
yeah.
fully.
I want to see the dark of him. You know what I mean? Because we
Yes,
see a little bit of
exactly.
it with Ronan, right? You do, and that
Hmm.
scene's dope. Like, bro, go
Yes.
back and watch. If y'all haven't seen that scene recently, it's short, but it is brilliant. It's so
Yeah.
old school, and like you instantly feel in the performance that he gives how much he has done and how lost
Yeah.
he is. And they hint at it before that where I forget who it was, but they were like, do you think we'll find Clint? And he's like, I don't even want to after seeing some of the things that he's done. Now we
This
don't
supposed to be like old kung fu movie inspo, right?
what's up?
All right. Never
Yeah,
mind.
no,
Go
it's
ahead.
kung fu. It's definitely kung fu movie when they do that
Yeah.
thing. But I was just saying, like, he is apparently whatever he did was dark. You know what I mean? Like whatever he was doing as
Yeah.
Ronin going around the world was dark. And if we see some of that and we see him, trying to coach up this young girl while also dealing with his own thing and a lot of pressures from, Avengers and different things like that. It's cool, man. They do a lot of fun stuff in that comic book where like he'll just
Yeah.
get beat up by a bunch of dudes because he's just a normal guy, but like he's still gotta be an Avenger and do all that kind of fun stuff. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's gonna
Well,
be
that's
it's
the
gonna be
whole
cool.
thing. Like like he doesn't have powers, and like
Right.
that's one of the best parts about Hawkeye. And I really do think Jeremy Renner has the stones to really like flip the coin and like really subvert our expectations of what Hawkeye can and will be, because I really do think he can deliver a genuine performance in the way like we know Hawkeye is some way, but just like based on my experience in the comics, like it does get really dark and it does get really weird sometimes, and I really think we would all benefit from seeing Jeremy Renner really go there. And it would be just, oh, it would be really fun. It would be really, really, really fun. And we could get a taste of that old, like, grizzled, weird dude mentoring a little girl relationship, which I know always sounds abstractly weird when you say it out
weird
loud.
when you say it out loud, but
But
we all
like,
love it. We're Wolverine fans, we know. We know.
Yes, like Wolverine's mentorship of young girls is so amazing. Like it's one of my favorite things, and it's always weird when it's like this traumatized, weird, angry man mentors this girl like his daughter.
He somehow finds dad vibes. He basically like somehow.
Yeah.
It's a really. You know what I think it could be too. Not to like totally derail, but a lot of them have just messed up families. So there's like they don't have good dads, so they just find a moment where they're trying to be a good dad. So no, I'm with you. I think that element will be strong, dude. And
well, Kate Bishop, her origin story all comes from like trauma or whatever.
Yeah.
So like, and as we saw, I mean, that's honestly one of my favorite moments of Age of Ultron, when he like that conversation he has with Wanda, where he's like, "Come on, dude, like get up." Like I think that's that's a really good emotional crux of the movie, and so like I could see that really translating to his own show.
For sure.
Damn it, Josh.
One last
You got me full
fanboy dream.
hyped.
Yo, one last fanboy dream that I want to throw at you. Okay,
Give it to me.
I've been thinking about this. Right, I've been thinking about where could they put a John Bernthal Punisher? Where could they drop a little punish on us? What better way? I mean, what better show than the Hawkeye show? Little flashback scene. Hey, Clint. Frank, I knew it was you. Some crazy shit like that. You know what I mean? Just do like a little bit of a scene between them, and then really, you know what you got to do? You got to do what Frank always does to all these motherfuckers. Looks across the table and says, "You're basically me." You know what I mean?
Yeah, like
you're basically
get off
me.
your high horse.
Yeah. Oh, wouldn't that be sick? Wouldn't that be sick? Are we getting too hyped?
Oh
Let us know in
my
chat.
God,
Are we getting too hyped?
I love that. I just want the Netflix Marvel characters back. Like I miss them so much. Like John Berthel's Punisher, like Matt. Oh my God, I can't remember any of their names right now. I hate it. But like I really think they did those characters justice in a way that like has not been matched since. And I need them. I need them back.
Yeah, I need them back
Damn
too.
it.
I need them back too.
Right
I've
now.
just been thinking about like where's the spot for it, and I think that's going to be the spot for it. So yeah, I mean, let us know what y'all think about all of that.
Yes.
And we'll
Charlie
get into
Cox.
Q&A. Yes, that one. Charlie Cox, that's the guy. And we'll get into Q&A, guys. I see a few super chats in there already. I'll get into all of that, and we'll blow through them. I think we'll go like 20 minutes or something, Darren, depending on how many super chats come in. But yeah, let us know what y'all are thinking in the chat. I see a lot of hype. I see a lot of fun being had. By the way, the more people that have come in on this vote, it's very interesting to me. And by the way, you guys,
what are the results now? I need to look.
it's over
50%.
Now
medium.
It's 48. Yeah, medium is really taking it. So the more people that have
thought
voted,
the hype train. Am I like? Maybe I'm just like drinking up all the Josh fumes. Like
Josh Kool-Aid.
You really,
I did.
Yeah, you took me from medium to hyped, and it's not working on everyone else, Josh.
Well,
so
yeah, I guess not. I mean, maybe they came into
happening.
the stream
What's going
late.
on?
Shame on y'all. You need to go back and watch it.
It's definitely them, not us, for sure. 100%.
It's definitely
like,
on
we're
them.
Completely not at fault.
I take zero responsibility for this and many other things. All right, but I will say before we get into Q&A, guys, first of all, you guys have really let me down on the likes on this stream. I haven't even looked at them, but I guarantee
Wait, can I say it now?
it's
I will end this stream right now.
Say it.
I will end the stream right now.
Let them know.
Get out there, get some likes.
Yeah, see, doesn't it feel good to get a little angry?
Yeah,
get a little angry.
I was actually so excited today to start the chat by going, "Oh yeah, let's get into it."
I do that now, don't I?
And then you started this stream by saying that, and I started laughing because, nice. We're doing it.
Yeah. All right, so here we go. Nerd Life is the first in. $10 holla, very generous, says, just a theory, but Marvel is using Secret Wars to completely end the MCU and reboot Marvel. I have a theory that is an option for them, but I kind of think it'll be more like a soft reboot, which ironically, the variant situation solves as well, right? Where, hey,
Yeah.
oh, this person doesn't want to come back. Let's find a variant version of them that will sign for less money or some shit. You know what I mean? From like Feige's perspective.
Yeah.
What do you think about that? Are they ever going to reboot?
I don't think it's going to completely end the MCU. Like, I do think there is still stock to be had by the characters that we have. So I don't think they'll completely abandon everything they've built so far just in hopes of like the crazy storyline. Although I do think they are going to use it to have a lot of fun. I still think there's much to be had.
I think that you could see after a big Secret War event, you could see some kind of reboot. But I honestly think Feige, for me personally, I think there's much more you can do even after a Secret Wars. With this current ish, right? I mean, we don't even have the X-Men. Avengers vs. X-Men was dope. You know, there's a lot of fun stuff they could continue to do with these characters, and then maybe they do a big crazy reboot thing. But with variants and stuff like that, they don't even necessarily need to. You know what I mean? So I don't know.
You know, I actually am kind of curious. I don't feel like I really know my answer to this question until I see how like the general movie audience starts reacting to variants.
True.
Like,
yeah, that's fair.
If they embrace it, like if general audiences are really into it and like really just like take it on and think it's a lot of fun, I could see them doing a hard reboot in that regard. But if the audience is still like, where's Iron Man? Then they're just like probably gonna,
That's fair.
We didn't thank the Nerdvengers.
Oh, yes. Okay, yes. And also, all streams are brought to you by Surfshark VPN. Definitely get a VPN. Use code NERD at checkout for 83% off and 3 months free. We're practically giving it away to you. Do it. You know, you've been sitting on the fence. Just do it. And also, of course, the streams are brought to you by the Nerdvengers. You see them in the chat, the lovely people with the beautiful badges by their name. They've been hanging strong, Nerdvenging in these streets. Yeah. It's awesome. You get 20% off of our Teespring merch. You get a bunch of dope emojis. You get access to the behind-the-scenes streams and more and more and more, including the $200 GameStop gift card thing, which I don't talk about enough. But we give away $200 GameStop gift card every month. So thank you, Nerdvengers. Thank
every
you,
month, Josh.
Every single month.
Did you say every month?
Every month. Become a Nerdvenger today and link your Discord account. It's really
Don't you see all those fun emojis in the chat? You want to be a part of that.
You definitely do.
You want to use our faces. You want to use lightsabers? Get in here.
Yeah, come on, guys. What's your favorite emoji, by the way? I use the nerd emoji a lot. I like my Rage Josh face. I'm going to do my 3 favorite. Rage Josh face. I like the Kevin Feige face. Kang Gang is pretty dope, of course.
I do like the Kevin Feige one with sunglasses. Yeah. I also like the purple drank one.
Yes.
And then I also like the one of me where I'm like this.
Honestly, it is a really good one. It's a great, you never know like how exactly the emoji is going to work, but that's a great emoji, yo. That's a great one. Shout out to Ryan doing the Lord's work with the emoji.
Shout out to me in my house alone making that emoji.
Did you do the whole thing? Did you do the whole thing?
Or no, like not like I mean, like I posed for it. It's just me by myself doing it.
Yeah,
good
it's nice.
Stuff.
It's nice.
Super cool and fun.
It's super fun. Matthew K says, I'm dying for a show about Cap's travels. Returning the Stones after Endgame could have major multiversal implications. I mean, that's a dream show for me. I'll tell you this, Matthew, and this is kind of a fun thing to talk about, Darren. New studio division for Marvel Studios, animated division. They're going hard on animation. Would you be down to see such a show as described by Matthew, but done in animated form of Cap and his journey, maybe with Peggy and his new life with Peggy?
I'm torn because I'm a simp for animation. Like I really, really, truly like animated shows, and I think it takes content to another level.
Yeah, it can be fun.
But I also think one of the only reasons why I like Captain America so much is because of Chris Evans.
True.
So
if he'd come back a voice, it would be great. But I kind of get the feeling like just my gut is telling me here that Feige just wants to be able to play with all the toys and have as much connective tissue. Like the guy that's voicing Iron Man and and Doctor Strange in What If, they sound a lot like Benedict and RDJ, but they're not. So I'm wondering, like, if he found someone that sounded like Chris Evans and it was well written enough, I'd probably still buy it as Cap. What do you think?
I don't know. By the way, also side plug, I am like eternally fascinated by voice acting. There's this amazing documentary called I Know That Voice about voice acting. Everyone should check it out. Nice. And it talks about, and it actually shows the guy from the Clone Wars and how he takes a perfect impersonation of
Tamara Morrison.
Alan.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
Alan
Alan.
McGinnis.
No, yeah, Alan McGinnis and Ewan McGregor, and creates a hybrid Obi-Wan Kenobi voice.
Whoa.
Obi-Wan Kenobi voice off of their two impressions. Like, because there's a musicality that comes from like memorizing like the tone and intonation. And they always say, like, can you sing in that voice? Can you read poetry in that voice? Can like knowing that, then you're able to do these things. So it is such a fascinating documentary.
Wow.
And yes, I do think they could make a really interesting and probably spot on impersonation because of Chris Evans. But not to be like a Slytherin kind of butthole, but like I'm more interested in like Iron Man than I am in Captain America. Like, I'm not gonna lie, his stories get old to me after a while.
Yeah, because he's just gonna go be a good person the whole time and do the right thing constantly to the almost annoying degree. Yeah.
But then Chris Evans really, really made me love him, and honestly made me start reading more Captain America stuff because of his portrayal of him, and like actually softened my cold black heart. So I don't know. And Captain America is is one of the, what am I thinking of? Which Soldier is like my favorite MCU movie. Yeah. So like, what am I saying? What am I saying, Josh, right now? I probably love the show. What the fuck?
It's tough. Yeah, it's tough. I mean, I have sort of mixed feelings on it because, like, frankly, I want Chris to actually come back, and I think there's still some rumors of that out there and all that. But ultimately, if they needed to use animation to tell cool things like that they couldn't maybe do with live action, I'm okay with it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm kind of into it, and I'm interested in how, like, what else are they going to put in animated form and why? And I don't know. I'm sure they're probably asking these same questions, right? And like, will people buy it? How would people feel about it? How should we utilize it and all that? But what if looks fan-freaking-tastic? So I don't know. I'm kind of here for it. You know what I mean?
I get the reasoning why you'd want it to be animation, though, because to make that show fun, the fun thing about it would be the what if properties, meaning like seeing all the people in all these different timelines. And honestly, scheduling wise with actors, that's just not possible. Exactly. Like, it's not possible. So you would have to do it animation, and it could be hella fun if you did it animated. Yeah,
for sure. And you're talking about Cap putting all the stones back, right? So that scene of him maybe talking to Red Skull on Vormir. Yeah. Everybody wants to see that. Yeah, you probably animation would make that look really dope. And again, you wouldn't need the scheduling and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, there could be a lot of fun stuff there. Let's see here. Oh wait, I'm sorry. Cameron says clearly she gathering people for her TED Talk on the female reproductive system. I must have missed context there. I have no idea what you're talking about there, Cameron. Sorry,
what? Yeah. Wait, who? Me or?
I think he's talking. He might be talking about Yelena or something. I don't know. He's probably just trolling. Jack D. Whiskey says MCU didn't know how to write Hawkeye's character. I don't know if I fully agree, but I kind of
agree with that.
Well, they didn't know how to capitalize on it. I think he's actually written well for the moments he's used, but yeah, they sort of underutilize him, and I don't know. I don't know if I can fully agree that they didn't know how to write him. Yeah,
I think Joss Whedon was the last person who wrote him well, and I know every time Joss Whedon's canceled. I know I'm not supposed to say that.
You're not supposed to like him now.
Yeah, I'm not supposed to like him. I'm not supposed to like things
he did. You can't like the good things he did.
Joss Whedon was the last person who wrote him well, in my opinion.
Understand.
And in that regard, I can kind of agree where the MCU doesn't really know what to do with him, because there is real potential, and there's a lot of good ideas, but I haven't seen him written well since Joss Whedon.
Sure. Well, I guess we'll have to wait and see for how well they're doing in the show. T Love says, "Don't you dare tell me how to simp. Do you think Hawkeye will be more or less hyped than Loki? Because I'm still on that Loki high." Well, that's kind of what the poll is about. I'm still on Loki high, honestly. I'm loving that. I actually want to go back and rewatch the whole series. It was definitely the one for me. It's definitely the one.
I love rewatching something after you know it. Like, I love rereading books and then like picking out all like the intricacies and stuff. And then you'll look at something like set design and like cinematography when you watch it for the second time. So, God, I miss that show.
I think it's, and I think, and I'm kind of setting myself up for this a little bit, but I think it's primed for a rewatch. I think it's the first 2 episodes, maybe even the first 3 will fly by. And then you'll be into the pithy stuff and you'll just be like, this is nuts.
Yeah.
So yeah, pretty cool. Alex says, Josh, you see this Spider-Man poster. There's a video of it in a movie theater. Seems kind of real. I sent it to you on Twitter. I may have. Let me double check on the tweeters real quick. But I think I did see this. And there's some people saying it's fake, though. Oh, here we go. Well, I can't
cannot confirm or deny the realness of the Spider-Man poster.
Yeah, I think I'm going to probably say the same here. Let me double check here on the tweeters. I can't pull it up on the computer right now because technicals. So let me see what's going on here.
Ding, 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 ding.
Let me see. Nah, bro. I don't think that's real. But thanks for sending it to me. Thanks for Nerdvengers in these streets doing the Lord's work. Dr. Cool says, Skoden.
Way to be out here.
Take my money. Thanks so much, Dr. Cool, for the support. Matthew Gay says, could Hawkeye end up essentially being a Thunderbolts intro show? What do you think of that,
Ooh, yes, I do.
Yeah. I think it could definitely be that, or at least introduce you to all sorts of fun people that could end up being Thunderbolts or connected to them.
Yeah, for sure. I think that especially if they go the Dark Hawkeye route, I think it could be a good introduction into like what the blip did to these people. Like it really changed these people. And like if you're thinking that the people were going to come out, even if they got these people back, like forgetting like 5 years of trauma, get out of town. Like I think it could be a really good, interesting character exposure to set that up.
Especially if you meet Clint's brother. I mean, if you somehow meet his brother, who I think ends up being the Hawkeye and Dark Avengers, unless I'm mistaken. Or no, Bullseye's the Hawkeye and Dark Avengers. I'm thinking of something different. But no, that could be really fun. And yeah, I think they're going to introduce fun characters that could be in DOS Thunderbolts. Big Mac says, Josh, who do you got this weekend, TJ or Corey? I got TJ. Don't feel super positive on it, though. And I'm still kind of bummed about the whole Connor thing. That was a bummer, man. Anyway. Sarah says, totally off topic, but if they brought back Charlie Cox's Daredevil, who do you think would be the lucky one to have Matt Murdock as their attorney? Well, there's some rumors, Sarah, that will indeed be in Spider-Man Far From Home. In fact, at this point, I'm pretty confident that you will see him in that film. But the newest ish is that you'll see him in the Daredevil costume as well as a lawyer in the She-Hulk show. Darren, what do you think about that?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I was like, I would like to see like some lawyer on lawyer action, like some colleague stuff. So that would be really cool. But as for the person they're representing, it's hard to say because I don't see him just like representing any old bad guy out here. I mean, he is still Daredevil. He still has a conscience. So yeah, I think the first thing I want to see him is some She-Hulk, colleague action. See some lawyer.
Maybe he's representing a member of the Wrecking Crew without knowing how fully bad they are or something. I don't know. That could be kind of fun.
Yeah. Do you think they'll date? That'd be weird.
That would be great. I'd be into it. But no, probably not. Probably not. But yeah, thank you, Sarah. Appreciate that. John Johnston says, sending you some love in honor of my diamond badge. Love being a part of this community. John, you love to see the diamond badge, man. Make sure you connect your account to Discord so you can get into the Diamond Lounge, where before our karaoke's, I get wasted on there in a private live stream with all the Diamond members because I can only trust you guys because you've been with me for so long. But yeah, no, it's super fun, man. Appreciate the love, and I'm glad that you're having fun here with us for sure. Matthew K.
Shine bright
says,
like a diamond.
Shine bright like a diamond, indeed. The Avengers Assemble animated show is awesome, in my opinion, says Matthew. I agree. Have you seen that?
I have not.
Yo,
but now I'm gonna.
Earth's Mightiest Heroes is incredible. It was on Disney XD, I think, back in the day or something. But it's actually pretty legit. It goes through a bunch of different things. Kang does some fun stuff. Doom does some fun stuff. I like that show a lot. So yeah, it's a good.
You guys always see me doing it's like always just like writing down things.
Yeah. For sure. Donovan says, Iron Man has always been the most boring, unoriginal character for me. I hope Junior doesn't come back. Dang, controversial opinion alert. Donovan says, I never liked that DJ. I thought he was a mistake. It should have been Tom Cruise from the beginning. What do you think?
Okay, first of all, how dare you? Tom Cruise has a middle tooth. Sorry. It's like my favorite. That's my favorite thing from the internet of all time. It's like one of those stupid things that has no importance. But Tom
Yeah.
Cruise has a middle tooth. Everybody look it up.
Dang, I'm gonna look that up. I don't even know what it means.
You don't know that
No, I missed
it's
that.
literally when he smiles,
He's got
his
one right in
tooth?
the middle.
like there's a line.
What? No way. I'll never look at him in the same again.
It's one of my favorite things.
Dang.
Also, he's probably gonna murder us all in his Scientology cult.
Yeah, for sure.
But he's a great action
He's a great
star.
actor
Damn it.
and a really good
God,
sprinter. He can sprint.
He is good at what he does. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I just like. I don't know. I've always thought Iron Man was an interesting character. I thought he was way more interesting when they put him in the MCU. But the Demon in the Bottle stuff is great.
Yeah, for sure. Donovan, you crazy, bro. Big Mac says, thank you for making this amazing content and helping me make my workday easier. Take my money. Hey, man, we appreciate you, bro. We're just out here nerdventuring in these streets doing what we do.
Money.
Take my
Josh
money.
doesn't. Hey, thanks for making my workday easier. Okay, like I'm out here working too and getting a little stressed, and then I always have a great time when I come.
Yeah, man,
I
for
can be
sure.
with the Nerdvengers.
It's a good vibe. It's a good vibe all around for sure.
Yeah.
B Grissom, very generous. $20 holla says, happy belated to a real one. Darren, woo! Cheers. Wait, you had a birthday
yes.
recently?
It was yesterday.
What? Happy birthday. Holy cow. That's awesome. You're not supposed to ask ladies how old they are, so I'll just say
I'm 29. It's not that
Shit.
important.
All right, nope. Now we all know. No, but that's awesome. Happy birthday. Did you do anything super fun?
I did do something really fun.
Yeah.
My friends are too real for this world, and they had a few of my friends flew out, and we all dressed up in cosplay and went go-kart racing so we could do real life Mario Kart.
That is awesome.
It
That's
was
super fun.
It was pretty awesome. And then I played Dungeons and Dragons for like 3 hours, and it was the best birthday ever.
That's awesome. Yeah, I love D&D. We were talking about that a little bit off before, and yeah, it's super fun.
Yeah.
It's super fun. Yeah, no, that's cool, man.
Yeah.
Happy birthday to you. That's always fun, especially like after the whole Rona thing, man, to get friends out there and just have fun like that.
Well, the campaign that we're doing right now, we've never been able to play in person. We got to play D&D in person for the first time, which if you guys haven't D&D'd, highly recommend. We're just like screaming and like role play. And it was just the best. It was so
Dude,
fun.
that's awesome. So I have that RPG. I'm actually in touch with a bunch of artists right now. I'm creating an RPG. And I'm very excited because I think the Nerdvengers are going to have a lot of fun playing it together. And I've sort of streamlined it as much as I can for people that have never played D&D. So like all the checks, everything runs through 5 stats basically. So you don't have a lot to think about with that.
Yeah.
The DM can do a lot of flexibility with the rolls and stuff. And also the combat is fun. I need to test it with people, but it's really fun and it feels like you're this character, which is the whole point of the role playing thing. You know what I mean? So
Gosh, that's so exciting.
Yeah.
That's really awesome, honestly.
Yeah. No, it's fun. I mean, I've always loved RPG campaigns and I've played a bunch of different systems. So I kind of have always said like, oh, I like this from this system. I like this from this system. And then, I mean, a lot of it's going to line up with 5e because I do think they've nailed a lot.
Like streamlining stuff.
Yeah. So it's fun. Yeah. I can't wait to share more. And some of the artists that I'm talking to are pretty pumped about it too. So it's pretty sweet.
Well, I heard Dungeons and Jaddies talking about that a little bit, how it's hard to, combat can get a little too meaty and a little too slow sometimes with like old school Dungeons and Dragons because we're so used to kind of like a video game progression and a video game pacing of combat. And so trying to restructure that for like RPG today it's a battle.
Yeah. I think a lot of the fun from this campaign too is going to come from very quickly the life total of not only the characters but the enemies are going to go way up. So you might blast something for like 70 damage and it might only be like a third or less of its life, and it's a basic mob. So like, because I wanted to really, because if you're a superhero and you're like really powerful, like either an Iron Man or a Saiyan or a Kryptonian, like you would be very strong, you know what I mean? And so you'd be able to take a lot of damage. People would blast you with some crazy attack and you'd shrug it off and come at them. So yeah, it's fun. A lot of freaking dice for sure.
have
which
lots of
is
dice.
which is fun.
Sign me up.
Indeed. I actually technically will. You're already locked in for the beta. The real Jesse Lee Reed says,
You're like, you don't get a
you don't
choice.
get a choice. You will be testing. Let's lobby for an animated series based on the 2099 comics. Miguel O'Hara is a dope Spider-Man. X-Men 2099 was some of the best X-Men stories. So I've read Miguel's stuff. I've read Doom 2099. I'm actually not that familiar with the X-Men 2099, though, so I'd have to look into that. But yeah, I would love stuff in the 2099 or like 1602. Have you ever heard of Marvel 1602? Dude, it's super fun. It's like, what if Marvel was existing in the 16th century? Yeah, there's like some steampunk kind of stuff going on, swashbuckling.
Very interesting.
Yeah, it's
That's
super
very
fun.
interesting.
And you could do it with animation, that'd be fun. That would be fun.
Dude.
Ooh, there's a good question. 34 Virgo asks, what is both of your orders now for all Disney shows? I think he's saying probably including Mando and all that. So I don't know if you can do that or not.
I'm trying to remember. Okay, so we got Wanda, Falcon, Loki, Mando. Does Bad Batch all in there?
No, let's not do it. That's unfair. No offense. I mean, it's technically not over yet, so we won't include it. Yeah.
I'm going to say Loki.
It's kind of tough, right?
Wanda.
Okay.
Mando, Falcon.
Yeah, I would say mine's slightly different, but pretty much the same. I would say Loki. I give Loki the edge over Mando just in general because I think it's just a tighter show. But season 2 of Mando is incredible. So it would probably, if we're doing seasons or whatever, I'd be like Mando 2, then Mando 1. Whole thing. Yeah. Then I would go Mando in second place for sure. So I'd go Loki, Mando, WandaVision, then Falcon and the Winter Soldier. You know what I mean? So, yeah, pretty similar.
Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
I know, right? But I mean, what did they expect? They remade the whole show, pulled it together with scotch tape, and then acted like we weren't supposed to get mad. I mean, there's incredible parts of the fucking show. Lumley is great. Like, there's a lot of good in there, but you can't just put it together like that. Let's see here. Alex says, LMO, damn it. Your job's hard. Josh, thank God we have you. Hey, thanks, man. I don't, maybe you had a typo there, but yeah, no, my job is super hard. You guys don't understand. You guys don't understand what it's like to come up here and talk about nerdy shit all the time and stuff that you really think is hyped and you're passionate about. Play video games occasionally on stream.
The job's kind of hard. You did kind of have to step in today due to technical difficulties. So
no, that's fair. It's fair. I mean, look, it's honestly,
the job is actually pretty hard.
It is actually pretty hard. But I always have this thought. I always come back to this thought, right? Where it's a perspective thing. And I just say, because I really and truly do remember working doubles all weekend at the big restaurant, right? And just working, like, because that's hard, bro. You know what I mean? And I have literal cousins that are actual coal miners. You know what I mean? Actual coal miners. And so it's like, I know what hard labor is. And so, yeah, do I stretch myself pretty thin and do I, do a lot of content and work a lot? Yeah, for sure. But I'm always trying to put myself back in that perspective of like, bro, this is what you wanted because before you were doing all that and you were bringing people's Diet Cokes and spaghetti. You know what I mean? And it's like, so it's all about perspective. I'm very happy to do this work for sure.
100%. There's like no doubt that like getting to do a job you actually like means that you are like blessed and lucky in all these kind of different ways. But it's like I think it's also the same mentality of like just because you're not like the whole like starving in Africa trope where it's just like people who like everyone has problems in their own degrees, right? So it's just like
I agree with that. And
there is no monopoly on suffering.
For sure. And there's some gatekeeping that happens in suffering where people that are lucky enough to have this job that I have are looked at as though they can't suffer, and that if they do suffer, especially publicly, that it is wrong or something. You know what I mean? And
which is also like kind of fair.
It's weird,
like, there's
right?
Like
the whole thing is
both.
It's a very nuanced thing. I think ultimately I'm happy to work hard, and I am just the type of person that's wired that way. And not to get completely off the rails, but like some people just aren't wired that way, and that's cool too. You know what I mean? I've come around to that. I used to think everybody's gonna work hard. Not really, man. There's some people that just that's not their vibe, and that's cool too. I'm very lucky to live a life where I get to A, chase nerdy shit for sure, but B, I've got a really fancy hamster wheel. We're all kind of on a hamster wheel. I have a hamster wheel that is very fitting for
Fancy
me.
hamster
You know
wheel
what I
is a
mean?
great way to put it.
Yeah. So
I
I'm
actually love that.
in that sense, yeah, I am very blessed, but I also am very happy to work hard. You know what I mean? I don't know if that makes sense.
You know what? Different strokes for different strokes, like or different strokes for different folks. Like really actually acknowledging that and accepting that, like for realsies, and not just saying that is kind of like the maturity for life. You know,
Yeah, well,
not
it took
expecting
time
people
though.
to go.
I mean, it took
Yeah.
time. When I was 24, I remember basically like saying like, I'm gonna be an entrepreneur. I'm gonna make it, and anybody that doesn't want to do that sucks, and they don't get it. You know what I mean? Which is, you're young
You're
and you don't
young.
fully
Yeah.
understand. But like, it took me a long time to just recognize that. And some of this stuff is actually some of the stuff that Sam Harris talks about a little bit too, where he's like, you're
Love him.
kind of not really that in charge of your consciousness. So like all this, like, I'm a hard worker. How much of that is actually in my control? Is there genetic predispositions to be seeking? You know what I mean? Is it hormone levels? Is it things that happened to me when I was a child, mentally, physically, whatever?
Are you in the no free will camp?
I'm in the camp that you have a very small amount of free will, and that what you do with that matters an incredible amount, but it is way smaller than most people realize. You know what I'm saying?
We are officially off the rails.
Yeah, we are.
Sorry,
Sorry,
guys,
guys.
but like, if you leave Josh and I at our own devices, it
Yeah.
will get
This is what you
super
get,
weird.
guys. By the way, we will be doing this again tomorrow night,
Yeah.
10 p.m.
Hey,
Darren's
you want to
Danger
just
Room.
like leave the rails? Come back tomorrow.
Yeah, come back
There
tomorrow.
are no rails.
There's no rails.
You're just wandering in the field.
All right, so I'll knock out a few more of these, get us back on track. Biggest hope for Taskmaster is the fact that it was based off the suit/microchip versus a person-specific combat abilities, Mandarin 2.0 situation. So this is a very interesting point people have been bringing up, where they feel like they could actually do Tony Masters, and they could do a real Taskmaster. What do you think?
Oh, like trying to bring it back.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Like,
Are you over it?
Taskmaster was so lame. I was like, that was really lame.
It was pretty bad, yeah.
It
It was
wa-
pretty
like,
bad.
and you know, I was like, at first when it the first scene of Taskmaster, the first scene of Taskmaster, I actually thought was good. Like, I was like, oh hell yeah, this is gonna make for some really interesting combat scenes. Like, woo! And then immediately after that, everything else. I was like,
Yeah, it was not good. I mean, again, I don't want to totally crap on it. And maybe they could, like, have the Taskmaster protocol something that was developed to emulate his actual skills or something, or he gets the chip embedded. They could do
maybe it's
something
still too
with it.
fresh.
Yeah,
Might be.
leave
It
it
might
alone
just
for a
still
while.
be too fresh.
Leave it alone for a
Yeah,
while.
I
Yeah.
think leave it alone for a little while. But if they did come back and do like real Taskmaster shit, I could be down. But I do think it's a little too fresh. If they were to
Yeah.
do it like right now, I don't think it would hit.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Darth Dever says, pumped for more comic accurate costume Hawkeye. I agree, actually. I'm pumped to see that. The costume work is always great in the MCU, so that's going to be pretty hyped. Let's see here. RG says, do you think they would do some type of version of Kamala Kang with Miss Marvel coming out, changing her story up a bit since they have introduced him? So making Kamala a descendant of Kang? Is that what you're saying, RG? I don't necessarily know that that's what they're going to do. The rumor right now is that they're not going to do the Inhumans with her, which I can't believe.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. You think? Yeah, that's the Kang thing.
I don't know much about like Kamala Harris.
Yeah. Kamala Harris.
I'm like
Kamala Khan. Maybe, you know what? Maybe he just actually mistyped there, because maybe he meant Kamala Khan instead of Kang. But yeah, Kamala Harris in the MCU. Can't wait, dude.
Oh, come on.
Can't wait. In Hawkeye.
Yeah, I'm not like super into Kamala Khan. Like, I haven't really read that much of her. She never really like hit for me. So like, I never really like read more.
Yeah.
Passing to it.
She's all right. I mean, there's some fun stuff there, but there's some really cringe stuff too. So it kind of depends on the writer, I guess. Yeah, sorry, RG. I'm not 100% on what you're talking about. I don't think they're going to do Kang with her, if that's what you're referring to.
I perceive, by the way, us saying Kamala Harris on accident when we're talking about Kamala Khan in the future, like probably like 5 more times.
Yep, it's happening. We'll keep it
It's
count.
happening.
The real Jesse Lee says the 2.2 of his thing. The part when President Doom appointed by the Punisher to run Shield was crazy, and don't forget the arrival of the FF. A 2099 show would be amazing. I agree with you. Doom does some wild shit. It was Warren Ellis that did the whole Doom 2099 run, and it was
Wait,
It was
I love
wild.
Warren Ellis is one of my favorites.
Yeah,
I
it was
like
great. Yeah.
we talked about this before when I said like when I saw that he wrote Castlevania, I was like because like
Yeah.
Planetary is one of my favorite like graphic novels of all time. So like okay,
Put it on the list.
2090. Well, I already wrote it, but 2099 gets a circle because I really like Warren Ellis.
Bro, 2099 is so savage. It's so crazy what they do. Dr. Cool with a very generous $29.69 donation says 29 for Darren and the 69 for the den. That seems about that seems like a pretty good split, I guess. And also thank you so much. Appreciate the love, Dr. Cool. Really appreciate
That was great.
I know, right?
I love that. Thank you, Dr. Cool.
Big Mac says, Josh, you should get Chivalry 2 is great. Dude, I've actually seen some stuff on Chivalry 2. If it weren't $40, if it was like a $20 John, I would get it. I'd be on it, man. That seems really, really fun. But from what I understand, it's $40 and you can't it's not even functional in some ways. So it's one of those things where drop your price, get your servers figured out, and then maybe I would jam on it. But yeah, Big Mac, I'm glad that you like the game. It seems pretty fun. The real Jesse Lee Reed says nothing was better than the TTRPGs with the homies. Yeah, tabletop RPGs, incredible experience. Again, Darren and I both love role playing. If you've not done it, you got to do it. Rifts is my favorite, but started in the 80s with TSRs and Advanced Dungeons and Dragons. That's cool, man. I have an OG AD&D player's guide. Well, one of the OG Gary Gygax AD&D things. Yeah, I really like D&D. I want to get back into it a little bit. Brad Moores says,
yeah, I just played 3 hours last night.
Oh, dude, that was wait, what'd you say? Oh, 3 hours.
I played with 3 hours last night.
I know. And then Elisa and I were trying to play Baldur's Gate today, and it's very similar to D&D. It gives me the D&D itch. And some bullcrap happened in the update, and I couldn't even load our save. We struggled through this goblin base like you wouldn't believe. We got to the other end of it. I thought it was awesome. And now I'm having trouble even loading the save. I'm losing my freaking mind.
Ouch.
Yeah. So let's see what's going on in the
Sam
chat.
Harris, though.
Yeah, I know, right? The $10 holler for Sam Harris. That was pretty nice. So, guys, we're pretty much going to call it there. We'll hang out for like 5 more minutes, see if anything crazy happens in the chat. But yeah, pretty dope little evening stream. A reminder, we do streams 2 times a day, at least over here on the Den. Darren and myself will be back at it tomorrow at 10 p.m. I believe Lavis will be
what
running.
What time are the 2 streams at?
10:30 in the morning and 7:30 p.m. at night. Thank you so much for asking. And Lavis, I think, will be running tomorrow at 7:30. I will be doing the morning stream, or maybe Elisa. Oh, actually, no. I'm doing the morning stream with Geekdom 101 tomorrow. He wanted to talk Dragon Ball. So, yeah, I'm pretty excited. I'm pretty excited to talk some Dragon Ball with him tomorrow. Yeah. And then, so we got a full day of streams tomorrow, full day of streams Thursday, gaming stream Friday night. It's fun time over here.
Hey.
Yeah. Hope you guys are
Hey, do you guys like some streams? Would you like some streams with your streams and a side of streams?
How about a side of stream with your stream?
Look no further. You are in the right place.
And if you don't like it, shut your mouth and watch. Josh,
if you don't like it, then you must not have Surfshark. That's like so weird.
Yeah, really? Like you're really screwing up if you don't have Surfshark and you're not watching these streams. Actually, yeah, that's a double trouble. That's a double trouble boner right there. You better be Kang Wang-elation? Kang
Wang-elation.
Yes.
Kang Wang-elation.
Yeah.
Kang Wang-elation. Kang Wang-elation.
Kang Wang-elation.
All right, guys, last call. Get crazy in the chat.
Yeah, last call. See what y'all got to say.
Crazy call.
Maybe a little bit out there for some folks, but it could really be a wildly interesting show. Wait, what was he talking about? Oh, Wheel of Time. He's talking about Wheel of Time as the show.
My brother-in-law loves the Wheel of Time. Like, he literally started a Facebook group for the Wheel of Time, got an audiobook recording of the Wheel of Time. And I didn't actually know Brandon Sanderson, who writes, like, I've talked about it a million times. Yeah. So I'm like, so...
Yep, that's going to be pretty crazy. I hope it's really fun. If it's intriguing enough, maybe I'll get in there and read. But yeah, we got some good fantasy stuff coming. You know, Witcher 2's on the way. You've got the Lord of the Rings show on HBO, or Amazon, rather. You've got the prequel to Game of Thrones. A lot of fun fantasy stuff coming out. So
Masma started reading Dune. I love you. Good job.
Dude, nice. Yeah, Dune's pretty wild. Dune is pretty wild. And
anyone who reads,
welcome to the Nerdvengers. You're a Nerdvenger now, my friend.
Anyone who reads Dune, check out Danica 19's Dune Club because it will elevate the book experience to a whole other level. Highly recommend.
Indeed. Indeed. All right, we're going to call it there, guys. Thank you
All right.
so much. This was awesome. Appreciate y'all. As we always say, hope you're having an awesome and a nerdy day. And we'll see you.
And I'll see you
In the next video.